Good morning. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Akman, Vice President for Health Affairs and the Walter A. Blodorn Professor of Administrative Medicine and Dean of the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and I am one of George Washington's citizen leaders. My path began in 1977 with hair. My GW path began in 1977 and has included being a medical student, resident, faculty member, department chair, dean, and vice president. I've had the honor of holding 2 endowed chairs. It's a path that 30 years ago took me to the front lines of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, where I helped build a community's response and served as a national spokesperson for LGBT health and in the fight against AIDS. It's a path where 20 years ago, I led the creation of the Medical School's Honor Code and its White Coat ceremony. It's a path where 10 years ago, I was a founding member of the Friends of the Luther Brady Art Gallery, where I continue to serve as co-chair. And it is a path defined by a GW legacy and marked by 2 transformative gifts by my father's cousin, Dr. Leonard Akman. My GW experience begins prior to starting medical school with Leonard's gift to me of a microscope and reconfirmed with a magnificent bequest. That microscope, what all medical students needed for histology and microbiology, forged my special relationship with Leonard as a soon-to-be GW physician. Today, medical students no longer learn histology or microbiology on microscopes, but on computers. And under my direction, our incoming medical students will receive iPads as part of an exciting new revised paperless curriculum. An innovative curriculum that takes advantage of our location in the nation's capital, incorporates the latest adult learning principles and instructional technology, and integrates basic science, clinical medicine, and public health to prepare our graduates to be outstanding physician leaders. And last month, we opened our fantastic new Clinical Learning and Simulation Skills Center. This 17,000 square foot facility, which is now the nerve center of medical education in Ross Hall, has several simulation rooms, including labor and delivery and operating rooms, and a 14-room suite of examination rooms for standardized patient encounters. The breathtaking range of equipment in this center transforms how our students and residents learn everything from anatomy to managing a cardiac arrest to performing minimally invasive surgery. As I was welcomed into GW Medicine by Leonard Akman, our students are welcomed into this amazing facility through the Dr. Leonard Akman reception area. Leonard was a double alum, having graduated from Columbian College and then the medical school in 1943. He was a student of the namesake of the endowed chair that I hold, Dean Walter Blodorn. Leonard became a cardiologist, was involved in pioneering research in heart transplantation, and traveled the world serving as a physician on the U.S. Army hospital ship, the USS Hope. He was a GW citizen leader. Leonard passed away 3 years ago. His will was written years before I was appointed dean, and in it, he left me with the responsibility to determine the use of the funds meant for GW Medical School, with the proviso that part of the gift would carry his parents' names. And now, as dean, and with a deep resolve to reflect Leonard's values and honor his life and loved ones, I distributed the funds to support several of my priorities as dean, including scholarships, the transformation of students' educational experiences, endowed professorships, and the capacity of medicine and health to make a difference in bridging cultural, ethnic, and global political differences. Leonard's gift supports 2 scholarships, one that provides tuition support for needy students and one that supports international medicine fellowships for students and residents. His gift supports our Clinical Learning and Simulation Skills Center. And Leonard's gift has now endowed a professorship in his parents' names, the Charles and Sonia Akman Professorship in Global Psychiatry. Leonard's parents were Russian Jews who came to the U.S. at the turn of the 20th century, escaping the murderous pogroms. Charles was the oldest child of my great-grandparents, and he paved the way for his family, which included his youngest brother, my grandfather. Uncle Charlie was a tailor who settled in D.C., and he and Sonia raised their family on 23rd and M Street, just blocks from Washington Circle. The West End was a very different place in the early 1900s. They spoke no English upon their arrival to the U.S., and Leonard's fluency in Yiddish served him well as his cardiology practice teamed with elderly Jewish immigrants. Uncle Charlie lived into his 80s, diminutive and joyful. He was always at the center of the traditional Jewish folk dances at my family's celebrations. And so there were three reasons why I created this professorship in global psychiatry. First, my desire to support the university's strategic vision of globalization. Second, to boost the psychiatry department's significant strengths in global mental health. And third, to honor Leonard's request that something in his bequest honor his parents. The Akman Professorship supports the faculty as they educate our students and residents and provide clinical care for patients of different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, including immigrants and asylum seekers, such as Charles Akman. As our faculty expand our knowledge of trauma and psychological challenges resulting from persecution, violence, conflict, torture, and war, and in the legacy of Leonard Akman as our students, faculty, and alumni turn their noble efforts in medicine and healthcare into what in Judaism we call tikkun olam. That is our duty to repair, heal, and transform the world. This professorship honors the lives and experiences of Charles and Sonia Akman, the generation that included my grandfather, whose determination to escape persecution led to an implausible journey where a son named Leonard, a grandson who stands before you, and two great-grandsons received their GW degrees. For Charles and Sonia, it began with the treacherous trip across a continent and an ocean to save their family. For Leonard Akman, it began with the love of his immigrant parents, imbued with the hope that he might live the American dream. And for me, it began with a microscope. I am Dr. Jeffrey Akman, alumnus, dean, vice president, standing on the shoulders of those who came before me, heeding the call to leave this world a better place and embodying the power and the promise of George Washington's vision, and we are making history. Thank you.